Hey guys, welcome back to another video as we continue to work on this thumbnail of the cover for Lynk. So as of right now, nothing is set in stone as far as what the hell is that? As far as the armor. All of this is subject to change and most likely will change. This is just to get a better idea of what the shading could possibly look like on these figures. And I'm actually going to get a flat pencil, a regular pencil instead of a mechanical pencil here. And I'll just use an HB lead. So, whoopsies. So, there we go. HB, nothing special. This is a Winsor & Newton, but I'm pretty sure it came from a drawing kit. Not a drawing kit, but a pencil set. Doesn't really matter. You can, if you're doing something like this, just use a regular pencil, same thing. So, right now, we're gonna the light is coming from the top, from the bottom going up. So what I want to work on is the form. So the form here, I'm going to work on this main character here. The chest area, this would go here, right? Chest would kind of be flat here. There might be a slight curve from the rib cage. So I'm doing the rib cage. The ribs would go this way. So maybe something like that. Just kind of roughly laying out the form. These would probably be a little bit flat. It might stick out. Maybe this is going to curve. I'm pretty sure. So I'm trying to think of how I would do this. This would probably be across the board here. Just trying to think of the forms of these items here. This would be a light. And then maybe something like that. Say something like this. The arms, we're gonna look at the form of the arm here. And then, depending on where the thing is here. And then here. I'm just roughing out the form here. So and then this would go and then this would be going down here. maybe. So probably at some point go here. And then the muscles. All right, so I'm just gonna work with this and see what we got going on, because I guess when I'm trying to figure out I guess I would need to figure out the horizontal line, the horizon line, not the horizontal line. Jesus, roughly, give or take. Let me see what we got going on here. Oh, sorry. And then if this would go down here, following the form of the muscle there. All right, so let's work with this. So this would most likely be shaded. No. Maybe this would be shaded. Let me pull up my reference. There we go. This would probably stick out some. Actually, no, this would be, I don't think. Pretty sure you guys can hear Sylvia going off in the background, whining. Mind you, I was just in there a few hours ago, like 2 hours ago. She's already been fed and everything. So if this was going up, the light would hit. Maybe I would get some shadow here, maybe, give or take. And I doubt that, but actually I really do doubt that, because that would stick out more. So I don't think that would catch too much light. But this is going out. Maybe this here might be covered. And then it's going up. This would be covered here. I'm trying to remember to have to think backwards, because the light isn't coming down, it's going this way. The light's coming up here. This might be slightly in shadow because it's going to stick out some. Probably wouldn't be too much, but this here would be covered because and you would have the chest that'd be blocking off the lighting here. And then I know this would be covered. Now the chest area, depending on the chest plate, this would be covered as well. Like this would be covered here. I'm pretty sure all this would probably be covered, maybe. And then I know this would not be hit by light, but maybe the collarbone would. It would stick out. And then this would probably, because this is going to come out. So maybe something like that. I'll cover this whole area just to make sure. I know this is going to be covered. Let me see. At some point, the arm, I feel like, would be covered. So at some point, all of this is going to hit, and at some point, it's going to block off the light, I would assume. I do have reference. Where's my link? Boom. This would probably be covered here up top. And this might be a slight. This is overlap. Here we go. So maybe this would be covered slightly, depending on the light. This would be. I did pull up a reference here, so I can see what I'm looking at. This wouldn't be covered. And then all of this would be covered. This would be covered here. Yeah. Maybe there's a lawn. Oh shit. Hopefully you guys could see that when I was working this out. Yeah, you guys could. Where is my sharpener? Alright, so this guy, let's go with the basic form of the armor here. And this is going here. And then, and boom. And then maybe the chest area is gonna go here. And I'm marking here. And then here. So at some point it's gonna go like that because of the chest. Close. Muscular. Male. Add inventory. Outfits. All right, so let's look at this. This is going to be covered. And then I don't know what that is. Let me erase that. And then this would probably be covered some. This is going to be all covered, most likely. Because the light's going this way, so it's going to be hitting these guys at an angle. Thinking of like this way, it's going like that. And then maybe this would be covered by shadow slightly. And then this might be covered here. This would go here, here, so maybe this would be covered slightly. This would be covered just in shadow because of the area there. And then maybe overlay because this would stick out some. And then maybe this this would stick out some as well, so boom. And then clothing, this would be covered. Then this would probably be covered too. And then this is going to and then this would be covered here, back here. I'm not going to do the faces right now, but I am going to do the next area, because might be some covered up here. And it looks weird now because I've only got 2 figures done, kind of like how we did the thumbnails. When we were working on the thumbnails, everything seemed kind of awkward until we got everything in there together. It wasn't just like one standalone where you can kind of get from Did I just do this? No, I didn't. Okay. But all right, so this guy's done. Now we're gonna work on the female back here. I know normally I think I did all the males and all the females together, but I'm just gonna swap back and forth. So this is the armband. Sylvia's losing her mind as if she didn't get attention and food earlier. I'll be right back. Let me let her out. I'll pause you guys. All right, so let Sylvia out. At least I opened up the bedroom door. Now whether she comes out or not is up to her. Because you swear she was being tortured, but I like to be mindful because I still, because Tiger, and I don't think they would have any issues. But oopsies. But the light's coming up this way. Go here. That's all going to be covered. And this is all going to be covered here. That's probably going to catch some light. Sylvia, what are you doing, honey? So this is all going to be covered here. Hi. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear her. Sylvie. Hold on, guys. Leave Tiger alone. I'm not up to make sure there's no issues. I don't think there would be, but Tiger's too old to chase anything. But and then this would be the outline of the muscles here. And then I have to remember that the light is coming from the bottom, because a part of me wants to shade normally, like the light is coming from the top. So this is probably going to be covered here. All of this is covered. And of course it wouldn't be this black, it wouldn't be this blacked out, but I would get an idea roughly of what that would look like completely blacked out. Wait, I let you out. If I try to get up to pet you, you're gonna run away, and you're not gonna come over here and sit next to me to get attention. So I don't know what you want. This is all going to be probably covered here, kind of similar to this guy. And this is probably going to be all covered here. Sylvie, what are you doing? And then even the arm here. Sylvie. That's where we're at right now. I'll move you guys up some so you guys have a better view. And make sure my phone doesn't fall out here. She's trying to get in the window. That's what she's trying to do. I could do the... I'm not going to do the faces. Ooh, sorry. I'm not going to do the faces right now. I am going to fix this, though. I like this should be lower. I feel like this will be covered. This would maybe try to there we go. That's better. All right. Now this guy. Let me see. Same thing. This is gonna be covered here. If this was going to be the armor and stuff that I would lay out for the characters, I would go ahead and make sure that I'm drawing the form for each. Oopsies. Did my shit just crash? Yeah, it did. Hi, Sylvie. What you want? Okay, so she's not bugging Tiger. Tiger's just minding her own business. But if I were to, hold on, guys. Sorry. If I were to, if this was the designs that I would do for the armor, I would make sure that I'm doing like a more detailed idea of like what the forms would be for the armor before sketching this stuff in. So that way I could be as detailed as possible for the armor. This is gonna be covered up, possibly. And this would be side view, so this would be like that, maybe, possibly. Now this would be the cover, so of course it would be in color. Oh my god. And the shading, of course. Everything would be more detailed. This is just, once again, this is just a thumbnail. It's not gonna be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get the idea down. Now we're gonna work on these lineups. I feel like I will probably come out somewhere here, maybe. All right, we'll leave it at that for right now. Why do you keep whining? So here, the light's coming this way. Wait, no, the light's coming this way. I had it right, dang it. Hold on. I think she's in the Sylvia. I think she's underneath the sink. Give me a second. Are you in my closet? What are you doing? Yeah, you're in the closet. Why are you causing a whole bunch of drama? So we're at 34 minutes. What the? That cat, I swear. She's awesome, but she's a butt. No, I love it. Okay. Working on these guys, right? Now, mind you, if the light's coming this way, you're gonna hit a lot of this, so. This would be. This cat, I swear. Might have. Like I made the neck too long for this character, but whatever. That's fine. And all of this is gonna be Can y'all hear her and her bell? Because that's her bell. That's the bell on her collar. That's doing what it's doing. And then this would probably be all covered here. And this would all be shaded. And then this wood, it's also probably going to be down here, like oof. What are you doing? Ew. I feel like this, I would cover this up. I'm gonna cover this up. This will be I think I'm gonna end up just going with this lighting idea. It's just gonna be the detail work that's going to and this would all, because the thing would go here. This would most likely be covered. This was everything will be rounder. Like, so the belly area, this would be covered maybe. And then here. Sylvia, what are you doing, honey? And this will be covered from the shadow. And then this will probably be, and then What? Something like this, and then something like that. I'm gonna color the faces after I do this character because I feel like the face is gonna play an important part to make sure this looks right. Hi. Hi, baby. You guys hear her? Sounding like she's starved of attention, even though she literally spent all night laying on me. And then I spent time with her this morning, and now she's laying on my shoes. She's literally got her face like in my shoe. It's to the point where like I'll leave one of my shirts like on my bed for her to lay on. Because if not, I'm coming in and she's trying to lay on my pillow. All right, so this particular character, remember it's going this way, so here. This would, let's see here. This would probably be shaded in. This would be right under because that would stick out some, and then the rest of this and then if this is going under, then maybe something like that. Something along those lines. Can you get off my shoes? Oh, my camera is in the room. I was gonna get a picture of her laying on my shoes, looking like the black void that she is. All right, so let's work on the faces. We know if the light's going this way. Here, this is gonna be shaded. This is gonna be the hairline, so that's gonna be shaded here. Yeah, I have this part covered. Pretty sure because you have this here. I think this would be covered here. Yeah, the side of the face that would be pretty much covered. I want to say no, because if the light's going this way, it's going to reflect, but maybe underneath. would be here. The nose would be covered. And this is the same thing. Boom, 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 boom. And then same here, boom. The brow line would be probably most likely slightly covered. So here it might be here. This is being blocked off. This would be and shadow. Maybe this here and this here. Like the brow area, some of this would be shaded here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I feel like this might just slightly where the turn would be for the cheekbones. She's literally passed out on my my clothes or my shoes. I think this would be, I feel like this would probably be shaded slightly, maybe. Probably. Let me look at my photos. I thought I had a photo of the lighting. Maybe I don't. Here we go. Here we go. Got a head up, so I can see exactly what would be, what would the shadows and stuff look like. I say pull up reference if you need it. Don't be afraid to do that. Not really much to talk about right now, so nothing really to say as I'm doing these. I guess one thing I can say, the reason I wanted to make a bigger image of the thumbnail was because sometimes something that looks good, from small might not look as good when it's blown up. But I feel like if you get it right, if it looks right small, it should look good big. But I feel like sometimes that's not the case, or maybe with me, I'm not spending enough time on the bigger piece to make sure it looks better than the thumbnail. So that's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility for me, because I used to have a habit of rushing stuff, and I think I mentioned this in previous videos that one of the things I'm making sure that I do now and focus on is taking the time needed on my finished pieces to make sure that they come out the way I want them to. I think I mentioned that in one of my illustration videos that I did. I'm not sure if it was the warrior, or what was the other image that I worked on, or the dragon. Gotta think about it for a second. Hey, honey. I got Sylvia, who's right next to my desk right now. Excuse you, ma'am. That's my headphones. What? So. Hi, honey. Come here. I'll give you some attention if you bring your butt here. Looks like you're just sitting there whining. So, this is where we're at. I'm not going to worry too much about the cloth. Actually, if this was hanging up, there would be a dip here for the flag or the banner. Let's see what I might do. Something along those lines. So that's where I'm at. Sylvia, really? Hi, honey. I swear she's like more dog than cat, because she'll literally roll around on her back like a dog would on the floor. Hi. Which is exactly what she's doing right now. Hi, baby. Meow. Meow. Ma'am. So yeah, she's rolling around on the floor like a dog. We're done with this. So kind of give you, this is what we're looking like. And I think it genuinely does look good. I feel like it looks better on camera than it does with me looking at it. But this is where we're at. This is what I think I'm gonna go with. Remember, this was what, oopsies, this is what the design was. Well, let's start from the beginning. These are the thumbnails. This is what I narrowed down on. Oopsies. This is what I narrowed down on. Yeah. And then I went from here, right, to this. These designs here. And this is what we decided on. And then we went from this to this bad boy here, where we drew out everything. Blocked everything out, drew the muscles. We went from stick figure to the mannequin, and then from the mannequin we did the muscles, And then I did the planes of the face offline, or off camera, as I said I was going to. And then from there, we went and traced this, which you guys saw me do, just kind of getting the general outlines of these figures. I drew some rough I created some basic armor designs that I had thumbnailed out, threw them on top of the figures, and then I, of course, went in and did the shading just to make sure this is something I would like to do, and I'm pretty sure it is. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to bust out the 11 by 17, and we're going to start working on the final layout for this comic cover. And honestly, the faces are not going to look like faces because there are going to be masks on these characters, because for the portion of the comic where these characters show up and deal with what they're doing when they fight, they're fighting with their identities hidden, and it's for a reason. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start working on that on the next video. And I'm probably gonna have to make sure that I'm in the right mindset, because just saying that I'm doing this and then now I'm about to go ahead and get out the 11 by 17 paper to draw the final is actually giving me a little bit of anxiety. And I think that's the perfectionism kicking in, because I want it to look good. I don't want it to look bad. And it's kind of, yeah. I know I could save up to commission someone to do the cover, but I want to do everything myself. So, and that includes the cover, and I'll learn as I go, like anything else. So thank you guys for paying attention, or not paying attention, but for listening, watching. If you are creating your own comic or your own project, hopefully these videos are helpful, as well as a little bit inspiring for you to kind of see somebody else go through the process, and you guys can see my struggle, and I can walk you guys through my thought process on how I see everything and why I'm doing certain things, and hopefully that makes that you don't feel alone in your own mind, and if you feel like you're coming across the same things that I'm coming across. So thank you guys very much. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.